Good evening. Hello. First thing, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Since we haven't got together since last year, by the grace of God, we have we have made another year. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Truly a blessing. And it's truly a blessing together for the what for the for the first of the year. Uh First thing, want to thank my wife, Roxanne. Okay. We had to change up the menu for tonight. It was supposed to be the jambalaya, but we had to change it up. So we have three soups. We have black bean soup, chicken noodle soup, and we have minestrone. We also have salad, okay, and we have fish sticks for our protein. And for our vegan people, we have some sausages over there, especially for our vegan people. Okay? All right. So we definitely believe in breaking bread, eating together, being able to talk. To me, it's such a blessing when you come in here and I see everybody talking. Excuse me. That's what it's all about. That's what a Democratic Party, a Democratic club is about. People talking about issues, what matters to them, what matters to other people, what matters to people that we don't even know. These are the real issues. And dealing with this and seeing it and trying to make ourselves approved. I'll just leave it at that. So I'll leave that at for the Happy New Year greeting. Okay. Next. Can I have everybody stand so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If y'all was like me, you grew up in the 60s or the 50s, or some people in the 50s, or some people in the 70s. Well, when you went to school, every day you started school with the Pledge of Allegiance. It was ingrained into us to have love for our country and to have love for people. So, just know. So, first thing, excluding our speakers, do we have any new members that this is their first time here or first time coming in years? With such a big crowd, with the parking lot full, okay, I'll let y'all know, when I came, I got to park on the side. But some people on the street. No, it's not no, it's a good thing. Okay, we will, guess what? If it was up to us, let's fill this whole rascal up. I'm telling you, why not? Because what it means is that the message of us for the masses, for the people, not for the rich, for the welfare and masses, for the masses of the people. So, okay. So with that, we wanted to last thing, we're going to talk about our dues. The dues for the Democratic Club is $25 a year. Okay, it's not the kind of dues that's going to break or send you into chapter 19 or 18 or whatever it is. It's not. It's not. But we fluctuated. The treasurer, I don't know if you got the treasurer got the report to Linda so she can make copies. Roxanne, did you get it to Linda so she can make copies of the treasurer report? Oh, you did? Okay. She's on it already. Okay, so being with that, we know that $25 a year. We fluctuate from there. We'll leave the rest for the announcements. Vern, where's Vern at? Oh, yeah. Right, okay, Roxanne, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Year, is it January to January or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we did last year, we owe now.
Well, with this, yes, if we pick our $25 that we paid for 2003, now it's $25 for 2024. Okay.
So now we owe from January 1. We all owe.
Right. Well, we all don't know because some people paid. Right. Some people went ahead and paid. So we'll go ahead and go from there.
Hello, I'm just gonna read off the treasurer monthly report. From the last meeting, we had some renewals on membership and some donations, and we had a fundraiser with pies. And our deposit was $221. That brings our outgoing is a regular $12 a month expenditure for Google. And our balance right now is $1,130.96. And then Vern wants to go ahead and ask for a vote from everybody to reimburse Kenneth where he fronted the money to get into the Black History Parade.
Oh.
$100 to reimburse.
I moved that. Yeah. All in favor?
Okay. All right, thank you. And then also to vote for our meeting space rent, $300 to be made out to Unitarian Church for the January through June 6-month period of this year.
Do that.
All in favor, say aye. All right, that's done. Thank you.
All right. I think, like with Dwayne, I wanted you to know, before Dwayne wanted me to brought it up once before about the reimbursement of the $100. Because what happened was we put by the time that we could have voted on it, it would have cost us $150 to be in the parade. So I put the $100 up to save the club $50. And that way the club got into it. This is what happened. We saved the club $50 for us to be in the parade. To march into the parade instead of $150, it's only $100. Okay. Plus, another thing also while we're out here announcing, I want everybody to really take this to heart. Lupe paid for our entrance fee into the parade of $150. I want everybody to know that. Okay? I'm talking about people doing things from the heart. Okay? Because that's what we got to be about. We got to be about the heart. We got to be about love. That's what we love for our fellow man, peace on earth. Guess what? We can't save the world, but we can make an impact on the world we live in. And that's what we should look at. Okay? At this point, I'm gonna bring Vern up so he can go ahead and do our announcements for our speakers. We always try to get the best speakers that we can get. Always. And I want you to know that our speakers tonight, I want them to know our invitations, okay. For March, Katie Porter's coming. Okay.
Next month, Ashley.
So guess what? But we don't stop there. The motto is go big or go home. Okay, go big or go home. So we have sent out invitations to the governor, the vice president, and the president of the United States. All they can do is say no. But guess what? We'll let them know that guess what? We are here to grow the party. And if they want to go ahead and be involved with us, we're setting the platform for them to come. And if they come, guess what? More people will come. So, Vernon,
So the March primary is March 5th, but that's not when you should vote. You get your early ballots in early February, probably around February 5th or 6th. And people, we shouldn't be called a primary necessarily because it's the first and last vote for a lot of important things like judges and education. And the fact that a lot of Democrats and other undisciplined people don't get around to voting for the school boards is how we end up with the OC Board of Education like we have right now. That's just a nightmare. You waste millions of dollars on losing lawsuits and approving every charter school that comes around, whether they're good or bad. So this coming, what? That's true. Although our friends in the hills in Orange, they get to vote on the recall as well. So there's a lot of voting to be done on education. Anyway, so we got a real bad OC Board of Education. All 5 of them have to go, but we have a chance to, if we elect the 3 people we're meeting tonight, we will change that board. We have Nancy Watkins here, who's running in the hills. Beatrice Mendoza, who's going to run in most of the flatlands, and I guess David Johnson couldn't make it, but he's got just got a little chunk of Anaheim, but he's a great candidate too. So I'm just going to hand it over to them. They'll explain what the OC Board of Education does and why they need to be elected. You gotta, when you get your ballot in February, don't start with the president, vote down ballot. Start with education and vote up ballot. Okay, who wants to go first? Beatrice has most of Anaheim. Okay.
You said go together?
Well, first of all, we want to thank Vern for inviting us. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you guys for being here because it is cold. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been involved with the party for probably about 15 years. I am a 2-term delegate to the California Democratic Party, one by vote and the other by appointment by Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. And so I've done my duty. I'm just kidding. So, I'm running because I have 2 children still in the public education. I went to public schools in Santa Ana and then graduated from UCLA. I've done a lot of work here in Anaheim. I'm the former president of Anaheim LULAC, was the president here for 5 years, and I met a lot of wonderful people like Dr. Pat. And I've also worked for elected officials who have done a lot in the Anaheim community. So Anaheim to me it's almost like my second home. But I grew up in Santa Ana, and I am very interested in flipping the board because, as Vern said, there's 5 right-wing extremists, and we need every vote that we can get in Anaheim. And we need to push, especially, I want to say especially for the Latino community. The Latino community, in my experience, having worked on campaigns for 20 years, we're not that great at voting in the primaries. So we have to change that. So please spread the message. There's 3 of us running. I don't want to speak to the choir, but if you are informed about what's going on there at the OC Board of Education, like Vern said, they're spending a lot of money on frivolous lawsuits that we're not going to win. And we gotta change that, we gotta change that because we have to put the interest first in students, not the pockets of people that have interest in money, and we have to put the students first, and that's why we're running. There's three of us, we're great candidates that have done a lot of work in education, a lot of work in the community, so please spread the word. I have sign-up sheets, so if any of you can sign up to phone bank, I have a sign-up sheet for phone banking and a sign-up sheet for canvassing. I know you guys are great at speaking to voters. And here's my literature, my walk card that the teachers are gonna use. We have endorsements from the California Teachers Union. We have endorsements from WAVE. We have endorsements from Women in Leadership. We have endorsements from Planned Parenthood. We have endorsements from the DPOC. We have endorsements from the Orange County Labor Federation. So we have a lot of organizations supporting us, but we need troops on the ground. That's how we're gonna win, because in the last campaigns, those that have run against the current board, they have not done a lot of grassroots campaigning, and that's what we have to do. So Nancy, thank you for running, and please tell us about your district.
So good evening, and a thank you to Vern for inviting us and Kenneth for the really warm opening welcome. It made me feel right at home as well. Appreciate it. My name is Dr. Nancy Watkins, and I am a retired teacher. I taught high school government and economics for 30 years in the Placentia Yorba Linda School District. I retired. I failed at retirement and ended up getting a job at Cal State Fullerton as an associate professor of educational leadership and policy. So when I say I know a little bit about education, I actually really do. Like, that's my career has been in education. And it's interesting because coming here to Anaheim, and I'm so appreciative because there is a section of Anaheim that is in my area, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I was thinking about when I was teaching high school in Placentia Yorba Linda, and Placentia Yorba Linda School District is really an amalgamation of a lot of different areas. There are students who live in Anaheim that attend PYL. There are students that live in Brea and in Fullerton, of course, in Placentia and Yorba Linda that attend Placentia Yorba Linda. And I was thinking of one of my students who came from a neighborhood in Anaheim, and I remember him so well. It's a crazy thing. If any teachers are in here, you can think of a student and sometimes even picture where they used to sit in your classroom. And that's this kid. I can picture it when he was like, why do I need to learn this? It was an economics course. You can hear kids, right? Why do I need to know this? We were talking about opportunity cost, if I have any economists in here. And I said, well, tell me what, if you weren't in class today, what would you be doing? He goes, I'd be at Disneyland. Like, well, and what's the value that you would get from being at Disneyland? He goes, well, I'd be having fun. I'm like, okay, but what's the value of being here in my class? He's like, I guess I'm learning something. I said, you just learned about opportunity costs. So I always think of that whenever I'm in Anaheim at Disneyland. So I have so many of those amazing stories. And I'll tell you that the reason that I'm interested in running for the Orange County Board of Education is that right now the current board with its 5-0 majority is dismantling public education. Their goal is to destroy the public education system by privatizing schools. They do this under a mantra of, choice and give parents rights. But what it really is translating into is not for all parents, only for some. It's segregation, it's exclusionary, it's discriminatory, it's a waste of taxpayers' money. And this board with its current 5-0 majority is solely interested in pushing a privatized school agenda. They approve charter schools, even if those charter schools are not financially stable and don't have a quality curriculum that meets the state frameworks. They approve them and they go, well, let's give them a chance and we'll see how they do. And in fact, in the last 5 years, they've approved over 23 new charter schools, 4 of which at the last board meeting are already failing. And when publicly funded charter schools fail, that money is also wasted taxpayers' dollars. The latest movement by the Orange County Board of Education is to take over for local districts. So when a local school, Anaheim Elementary, Anaheim Joint Union, deny a charter petition for a local school district, those charter schools can appeal to the county board, And the county can force the locals to accept that charter school, and that's your taxpayers' money. So David Johnson, who isn't able to be here tonight, and I'm just so grateful to be on a slate running with like-minded people who see the value in public education, who want to ensure that they're focused on the students that the county is supposed to take care of, which are the most vulnerable kids in Orange County. So the county board has direct jurisdiction over children in the juvenile hall court system, in the special education programs at the county level, and in the alternative education programs called Access. The current board, the 5 members on the current board, never once talk about the kids that are under their direct jurisdiction. All they talk about is protecting the charter schools. Now, both B and I are very aware of what's happening in the race. The person I'm running against is a 26-year incumbent. His name is Ken Williams. That's a good one to boo at. He's been there 26 years. I am an educator, not a career politician. He is currently kind of the ringleader of the gang of 5. B's opponent was appointed to the board, has not won an election, but both of the people that we are running against have been supported by the charter school PAC. And the last FPC report from the last time Ken Williams ran, the charter school PAC gave him $200,000. And he won. He won. So, yeah, that was the race against Andy Thorburn in 2020, right? For Andy. And I think that this is the difference with B and I in this race, is that both of us are reaching into the community. We know, B just mentioned it, and I hope that you do sign up, and you can grab my literature and sign up on my website if you're interested in canvassing in Anaheim Hills and some of the unincorporated areas of Anaheim, over in that area. But we need people to walk, knock, and talk. We need people to say our name everywhere. So I know that this is mostly B, and I want to give it back to her because this is more of her area. But if you live in, well, I say no matter where you live, you know people who live in our districts, right? So I'm in area 3, which is Brea, Placentia, Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, Villa Park, Orange, North Tustin, North Irvine, all the way up through Silverado Canyon. So even if you don't, and there's 380,000 voters, right? Even if you don't live in area 3, you can't directly vote for me. Hopefully you're voting for B. You're on, or she's on your ballot, but you know people who live in that area, and you just need to share our names, share our name with everybody, because people don't know about the Orange County Board of Ed. And this is an opportunity to let them know what the board does, what it's currently not doing, and why the 3 of us, David, B, and Nancy, are going to make such positive change.
Your doctor, Nancy Watkins, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your doctorate?
Educational policy. My dissertation was on teacher. He's a hair restoration doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question. We were talking about what the current board does and what they care about. Yes, they care about charters, but don't they also care about using public money to file lawsuits at the state level that are for all kinds of bonkers, crazy conservative ideas? You talk about that at all?
Yeah, no, definitely. You guys probably know about the lawsuit they filed, right, the anti-mask lawsuit, and they don't believe in COVID. And, we got to change that because they're just pocketing the money of the attorneys or, law firms that donate back to their campaigns. So again, their interest is not the children, right? Their interest is just making them richer. But yeah, we have to change that because, we can't redirect funds from students like Dr. Nancy said, these are vulnerable students, and I want to share a story. I was in the foster care system. We were taken away from my mom, and I could just not imagine, these funds are just not being used towards these children that deserve an education. Everybody deserves an education. And one thing I didn't mention was I've been involved with LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens. we advocate for education for all, in addition to a lot of things that we advocate for. So, we gotta protect these students, and that's why we're running. Dr. Nancy Watkins' children also went to the public education, and David Johnson, he's a trustee for the Westminster School District, who has done a lot of great work in Westminster. So we're very familiar with the lawsuits and the millions of dollars spent by the current board, that is spending on money on anything but the students. So thank you for asking that question.
And I would just add, the irony of it is that the board has access to a legal team through the county Department of Education. But because the board decided to sue its own Department of Education, they used an existing policy to say that they were able to hire their own counsel. After that lawsuit against elected County Superintendent Al Mijares, then they sued State Superintendent of Public Education, Tony Thurmond, and then Gavin Newsom over the COVID protocols. So even though those lawsuits have been in the pipeline now for 5 years, we know the legal system moves. They have not pulled those cases or rescinded those cases. And at every monthly meeting, the Board of Education is approving between $40,000 to $50,000 of legal fees, in addition to hiring their own lobbyist and paying another special interest firm so that they have representation at both the state level and the federal level for school choice. Over the last just 5 years, that's $10 million. That's your money. That's our money, right?
They're also suing the state, the county committee. They've sued them 2 or 3 times over their own boundaries. So.
Yes, and I like to say that it's a power grab and anti-democratic, because they did not like a democratically elected committee that's designed to redraw the district lines for school districts in the county board, but they didn't like their lines, so they sued them.
This is I guess, a informational question that may be relevant. Anaheim is about the only city I know, and I was come from the LA City Schools, which covers huge amount of different various areas. Anaheim has at least 2 schools, so I think maybe it has 3, and one is Y, and secondly, is that a way of discriminating against, against the Hispanic portions of the Anaheim with the Anaheim villages?
It could be I don't say we because we're not there yet, but we are gonna be there. But they don't have control over that, right? In terms of which districts the county board can vote for. But there is, are you talking about the Anaheim Union School District and then the Anaheim Elementary School District? Yeah, there's, yeah. So yeah, there's 2, but I mean, I could tell you they do that because they want to discriminate, but yes. Oh, yes. In Anaheim, yeah, it's part of it. Yeah.
Essentially, you're able to do that.
Yeah, they all overlap a little bit. So yeah, there's some schools. I used to live in Santa Ana, but I lived in an area with Orange Unified was the school of my children, but took them to Santa Ana. And Mark, I think you had a question.
Yeah, the property that the charter school is using, does it still not belong to the school district? Randall Friedel, or one of our trustees for Anaheim, I don't know. Do they own? They don't own the property, so who upkeeps the property? Is it the taxpayers? The charter school doesn't pay for like fixing and any property damage or anything.
Right. They're just.
So they're just using the property, but it's still the school district that has to pay for the upkeep, right? Is that?
Correct. Unfortunately, that is the case. Yeah, they have to allow the charter schools, to go in there. If they aren't using the facility, then they could come in and take over, which again, it's public education money, and that's going on in Orange currently now with the school Esplanade that the charter schools are trying to take over. Yeah.
And, I don't know that B and I had a direct conversation about this, but There is a place for charter schools within our public education system, and there's some outstanding charter schools that serve very direct needs when you look at like the Performing Arts High School, some of the Science and Technology Academy high schools. But the intent behind charter schools was to be an incubator for innovation, not bound by some of the state and federal regulations. What it's being used for now is not that purpose. The goal with a good charter school was to knowledge transfer back into the public education system so that the best things that they were doing in these innovative systems could be used in our public education system. Now charter schools are being used as a push for personal agendas and particular curriculum like the Hillsdale College curriculum to teach classical education, or what the other buzzwords are, back to basics. And also they're generating money, even though it's a publicly funded charter and they will advertise as a public school. I like the semantic framing. So I like to say it's publicly funded, but it's not a public school, because public schools are for everyone, right? But you'll hear the charter pack, they don't like that framing, but I go with that. So publicly funded charter schools can lease land, can lease a building to hold their school if they are not on a public school campus. And what we're finding is that many charter schools, people who sit on the board for the charter organization who are unelected, they own the property that the charter school is leasing. And then tax dollars are paying that lease to the benefit of the board member. And that's actually what's happening with the Orange County Classical Academy in Orange County. Mark Bucher owns the building, and tax dollars are giving him money to run a classical Hillsdale College charter school. And I think that this is why we're so excited to flip this board, is like, we want to support the quality charter schools, but stop this money grab for personal agendas.
Yeah, please, question for you, question at my school, and, we got any 1,000 signatures to, remove the mask on the school name. I know you use the term Latino, right, it might, make some people uncomfortable, but some of us have to stand up. A lot of us are Chicanos, and Chicanos with Native American ancestry, it's so special. And so my question is, this is the time for me to ask. I'm a little nervous, you know. Will you help us somehow, if we can help in return getting those, get the people to vote for you? To change the name of the school and the mascot, because it still creates a big, there is students that cut themselves, you know, there is evidence of that. And there is psychologists that have worked with them. And the tribe here, the Gabriel, LA Times, LA Register just came out with an article. One of the tribal members killed, and they don't have federal recognition. And we're talking about land, that just came to my mind, land, you know, tax this, tax that. They would have federally recognized tribe reservation, they would have a reservation, they would have revenue to help you. So my question is, you don't have that, you know, they don't have that. And so where do you stand as far as, because I'm literally, you know, how, we try to do it at the school board, they voted out, they got the bar, but they kept the name. And that's to us still offensive because it represents rape and many negative things I will not talk about.
Yeah, so I think you did message me about that. You did, yes. And, you know, I would be in support of that, but in terms of the Orange County Board of Education, you know, I don't think they have power over that. And I was gonna say the same. You mentioned Al-Jabbar. I think that it should have been taken at the local school district, you know, and what the students were advocating for. I think that the board should listen to the students, should have. And it did, okay.
They voted to change the mascot and keep the name Colin.
And you know why they voted to keep the name? Okay. American history, but Chelma just did not allow them to. But now the good note, there is a book called There, come down, and they're now allowing them to teach what the colonists did or what it means. So that's all.
The colonists was never about the early colonists. It was about the colony and the vineyards and the first people that.
Mr. President, I think you have a hand up.
Going to the Bible. The graduation rate is 97.4. We've seen the charter schools go after. This group. They were here in District 5. Thank goodness. The ladies here, that fight, and we all joined them in, because they were here within a half a mile, 5 different schools. They did nothing specialty. There was nothing that the other schools couldn't do that they for those students. It's a power grab. It's a money grab. You know, it's like it's a gold rush on taxpayers' money. And my point of it is at 97.4. The city of Anaheim, I've been keeping my eye on them because guess what? I have a granddaughter that goes in the Orange and 5 school district, but she lives here. We was there when the superintendent got inaugurated. And when we heard her speak, from that point on, that was one of the things that was instrumental of them going to all elementary schools bilingual in the city of Anaheim. A lot of people don't even know that. All elementary schools in the city of Anaheim are bilingual. Not to say, we talk for Anne Marie over there. I see on top, they have a new Mandarin one. They have a Korean one. These are the things that we need to go ahead and pass on to our children. Because when you start to speak those different languages, you don't just speak to a person's heart. I mean, their mind, you speak to their heart. Right? And we have to pass that on. But my point of it is, it's a money grab for what I went ahead and see. I went ahead, I knocked on doors with Allison. Okay, me and her knocked it on door. Okay, I'll be glad to go ahead and come out there and do it, because this is not just for that, this is for our children.
Right, children and grandchildren, yeah. What I want to say about that is, I remember when this charter schools were coming to Anaheim. I've been involved with Los Amigos probably for about 20 years. So I'm very familiar with Palmdale and all these other schools. But what I want to say is that Dr. Nancy Watkins and I have been going to every meeting at the Orange County Board of Education. And in the latest, their latest request in Placentia or Belinda, the superintendent went and their legal counsel, and they said, you know, why don't you let us decide, right? If the school district doesn't want a charter school in their city, why are you taking the power away from them? And by these charters of going to the Orange County Board of Education, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So we want to change that. You know, we want to protect the school districts. If they want it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. Because, you know, it's important that they weigh in. It's their city, it's their school district. So.
Trying to scholarship prep that Cecilia and help to be here. And yeah, you're right. They did go to the OC Board of Education to get approval because they couldn't get it from Anaheim.
And I would love to add, Kenneth's example is a great example of the innovation that is happening in a lot of public school districts. The dual immersion programs that are starting in elementary school and going all the way up through high school, plurilingualism and Anaheim Joint Unified High School are outstanding. And one of the new movements, and there's some grant money that are available to districts, and I'm aware that Anaheim Elementary, I think, has 2 grants, federal grants for community schools. And this is another innovative approach to how we are looking at our public education system and making changes. These are not charter schools, but it's a community school with wraparound services for families and for students to ensure that the public education system stays strong. And then to one point of Vern's, I do want to talk about, Vern, I love the message. You know who's at the top of the ballot. We're going to be at the bottom of the ballot. So the biggest impact you can have for local politics is start at the bottom and vote up. Right. So I had one person at an event that B and I were at for WAVE say, bottom up March primary, think bump, bottom up, and tell everyone you know to vote up. Find us at the bottom and vote up.
Yeah, right.
Very. Saying, you know, here's what all you can do. But the most important thing I think that can today, because I think still most of us, not all of us, for the 30 seconds or so, is what we can do for you. And there's one thing that I remember when I was working on the Bernie Sanders campaign that's critical that most people here could do, and that is to host a fundraiser at your account where you bring people in that you know, listen to one or the other of them speak because you're in separate districts.
Yes.
And, you know, collect some money for people. You're gonna put out some money for snacks. And hopefully, when they hear them, they may get $20 from people like that. That's powerful. It's not $100,000 powerful, but it's more than you'd have otherwise.
Well, if anyone would like to write a check for 100 grand, we're not gonna say no, but
Yeah,
yes.
I only see one or two people here.
Thank you.
How can you work with people here? How can they find you and try to set that sort of thing up? Is that something you've been doing already?
Yeah, we could do coffees, local coffees, and they invite their own neighbors. I have lawn signs. If you can take one, please. I can deliver some more. And then there's the card. It has a QR code where you can donate $25. So, and then we have literature. Please take some literature and share it with your neighbors that you know can vote.
Number one thing is vote. Number two is volunteer, putting up a yard sign or canvas. And number three is donate money. It's a very expensive race because the districts are so large, so many voters. It's almost impossible to reach $80,000 without a significant bank account to do mailers and to do that. So I love meet and greets because I do enjoy just having the conversation. And I would say, I also have literature on the back table and I can put out some business cards. If you just go to my website, you can get in touch with me directly. My email's on the card. And I'm just so honored that you guys are willing to listen to us tonight and that you're so supportive. So thank you. Thank you very much.
So most of you will be able to vote for Beatrice, and she has 5 signs up there if you have a front lawn. And those of you who are in the Anaheim Hills or friends in Orange, should vote for Nancy Watkins. And I move that, even though they already have the endorsement of the Democratic Party of Orange County, so we don't have to do this, I think we should vote to give them an enthusiastic endorsement. Is that a good idea? Yeah. Anyone say no? Okay. Who gives them the enthusiastic endorsement of the Anaheim Democrats Club? All right. And grab a Beatrice sign if you live in the Flatlines. That segues into something else. We are required to vote because we are required to vote between Joe Kerr and Allison DeMichelis. They're running for Congress against Young Kim. They're both Democrats. And we have to choose one of them because neither one of them got to the threshold where they could get the state party's endorsement, so that they want the clubs to pick one. And they're running in Anaheim Hills. They're running in Nancy Watkins land. And do you remember Allison? She came and spoke to us a few months ago, and we liked her a lot. I've been trying to get Joe Kerr. Kenneth's been trying to get Joe Kerr, and he won't respond to us. And I can tell you a lot more about him, but I don't want to prejudice you against him. But we get to vote between Allison and Joe. And Joe doesn't want to talk to us. So should I say Allison? Can we do Allison by acclamation, or should we do a vote for Joe and a vote for Allison? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's simplest. Unless, does somebody want Joe? Sorry, Joe. No. Okay, so the club endorses Allison. We heard her. She's great. Nancy, you know her, right?
Okay, so running against.
She's in a school board, and the Republicans tried to recall her for supposedly doing critical race theory in elementary schools. Which is
Both of them are
nonsense.
running against Young Kim, which is, I would rather have that rubber donkey in there than Young Kim.
That one, rubber donkey's good for the third choice. Okay, last of all, before we go to the Disneyland Forward panel. By the way, you must have noticed a lot of our members are sick. That's why we didn't have a, that's why we didn't vote on the November minutes, because our recording secretary is sick and so is our roster secretary. And we hope they get better. I was in charge of the literature committee because we're trying to get a pamphlet together for next month for when we're going to be in the Black History Parade, February 3rd. Although the pamphlet's not just for that, we're going to use it till we're sick of it. It's going to be one of these trifold things, and I want to run the text past you guys and see if you approve it or if you have any suggestions. So welcome to the Anaheim Democrats Club. And then it's got a graphic. Thank you for your interest in the Anaheim Democrats Club. In the words of civil rights hero John Lewis, we make good trouble in Anaheim and we have fun doing it. There are over 20 local Democrat clubs in the OC chartered with the county party. And if we are different from the other clubs, it's because Anaheim is unique. There is no other city in the county with so much money running through it and through its elections. And there is sadly no other city that has earned such a reputation for corruption. And our club has been fighting this corruption for many years, long before the FBI showed up and made arrests in 2022. So far, any comments?
I have a comment. What happened to that letter you sent to the state for an investigation?
Nothing. Rob Bont is more interested in hate crimes and making sure that people can have abortions. Okay, then there's a graphic picture of us. Yes. His quote was, he likes to make good trouble. Those three letters, those three words, make good trouble. That's associated with him.
It sounds like he said more than that. It was 3 words.
Yeah, I used quotation marks and I bolded it too. Corruption versus democracy. That's a heading for like second page. The root of corruption in this town is the huge amounts of money put into every council election by Anaheim special interests, led by Disney, but including many other allied interests like developers, landlords, and public safety unions. We were at the forefront of getting district elections in Anaheim, the first in the county, to deal with this problem. But the special interests dealt with that by tripling the amount of money they pour into our elections. At this point, it cost a candidate $500,000 to $1 million to win a council election. And only these special interests have that. This is why every 2 years, your mailboxes and social media are deluged with ads for Anaheim politicians. We find this situation unacceptable, and we're pushing for serious campaign finance reform or publicly financed elections. Until then, we try to support the most honest candidates who are usually not the ones with the most money behind them. And sometimes they win. Is that good so far?
Yeah.
Then there's a section on housing and homelessness. And it's illustrated with that famous picture of Kenneth with the yellow housing is a human rights shirt. This is our other big issue. One of the root causes of homelessness in Anaheim is our lack of affordable housing, and that's related to the corruption problem. Developers who are happy to build affordable housing in other towns just donate to our council candidates instead, and then they get away with not doing the same thing here. Many of us are also members of the People's Homeless Task Force, the group that's forced the county and various cities to provide shelter to our unhoused population, that gives food to Anaheim's homeless every week, 30 tons in just the past 3 years, and even stopped the corrupt giveaway of our Angel Stadium until the FBI was able to stop it for good. We want our city leaders to adopt an inclusionary housing ordinance, such as other cities have, where any new development must have a certain percentage of affordable housing included, but it's been difficult to get that from a council paid for by developers. Okay, is that section good? Kenneth? Okay, yeah, what Judge Carter said, they squirreled away. Or chipmunked away. Yes, Steve?
I'm sure that, I know the People's Homeless Task Force, I'm a member, but I don't know another organization should be mentioned in this particular thing, do you think? I mean, it's explaining who we are, so
Okay, should we leave that paragraph out, but the People's Homeless Task Force? It says that a lot of us are members of it.
I don't think we should leave that out.
Yeah, it's just one paragraph. Okay. Then there's another picture of us having fun in the park. Meetings, food, and parties. Our regular monthly meetings are the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Unitarian, blah, blah, blah. Anyone can attend. Our president and master chef, Kenneth Batiste, always brings a variety of home-cooked food, which everybody looks forward to. To be a member in good standing and vote on important issues, you must attend 2 meetings and pay the annual dues of $25. If this is impossible, you can ask for a waiver. There's always an option to attend meetings via Zoom, but if you do that, you miss out on the food and the companionship. And every now and then we have special events, potlucks and parties in Anaheim's various beautiful parks and breweries. We participate in Anaheim's annual Black History Parade and various car shows. Find out more at anaheimdems.org. And then, since most people are obsessed with national politics, I added this. Nationally, we consider it an existential challenge to defeat Trump and Trumpism for good, and we take the Congress back from the useless and nihilistic national Republicans. This is the only way our great nation will be able to do anything about climate change, gun violence, and protecting democracy. And there's another picture of us. And then there's a little bullet list that we have at the end of our, things we believe in, except I added police reform.
This isn't the Anaheim Unitarian, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So, and then also, the part of the Trump, neo-fascist, Nazi, if you can put that.
Taken under advisement. Okay, any other comments? You can email me if you have any other ideas, because we're gonna be working on this for a little while.
Sometimes they win. That's a little weak. I would say they win.
They usually don't
And they
win.
are something a little stronger than sometimes.
Okay, I'll think about that. Well, hey, thank you, education ladies. Okay, what? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Suggestions, promising kind of food. How many days was available or after presidents or one of the shortening the lifespan of the brochure.
We'll have to get a new brochure if Kenneth leaves. Okay. Got to think about that. Okay, now, second half, pardon me? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. And if Rebecca was here, there would be some that we could buy. But yeah, we got big things happening in February, 3 big things. Black History, meeting the first with Ashley Aiken. And then 2 days later is the Black History Parade, and I hope you can all come to that. It was really fun last time. And then sometime in the middle of February, we're doing the celebration of life for Lupe Ramirez, who's alive. How often do you get to do that? A celebration of life for someone who's alive. It'll be Rancho La Paz people combined with us. Yes, ma'am. Website. Uh-huh. Okay. Nah, that changes too much. Yeah, I'll think about the contact number. And it does have the website. Okay, so we have our panel on Disneyland Forward. We're gonna find out what the mouse has in store for this city for the next 30 years. Cynthia Cynthia, you're gonna be part of that, right? Friend Cynthia Ward and Georgia, will you join us? And Mark. Because Janine was gonna do it and she likes to, she's sick. Otherwise, she'd run away with the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, at some point I'll say the things that Janine and Stephanie wanted to say, but for now, I think Cynthia could introduce well, or any of you. Marc Herbert, Georgia Price, and Cynthia Ward, they're all brilliant, smarter than me.
What's the format?
Take care of it till after.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just making it up as we go on. Kind of like Disney's environmental documents. Oops, I didn't say that out loud, did I? So my name is Cynthia Ward. I got dragged into this because I'm kind of the local history nerd, and I understand the history of the documents that Disney is working from. So what they are currently doing is amending